What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P. We are back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It's time to talk about some stuff, and we got some stuff to talk about today. But before we do that, we got to go ahead and get the introduction out of the way. So, when you see me, front your TV. One thing is for certain, and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. You want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. You may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep his Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'm going to tell you. I'm glad you asked. Thank you for asking. You got to smash the like button, you got to subscribe, you got to share with your peoples. And once you've done those things, then you've indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since we're talking about your peoples, and sharing is caring, once you've shared this stream with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your brothers, your fathers, your mothers, your sisters, you name it, you have indeed cared about those people. What up, though, everybody in the chat? What up, though, everybody who is lurking and twerking? Maybe lurking and working, lurking and smirking. But if you're lurking and doing something else, I don't want to know about it. Don't tell me. Just keep doing you. All right. And for those of you who are coming in now, for those of you who will be in here later, we would like to say what up, though, to you. And then we would like to go ahead and get started with what we got to talk about. Now, I know that there's going to be some people, and those are going to be people that come in later. And those are going to be people that don't know me. And those are going to be people that are quick to correct and find errors. And they want to be like, you didn't know that? You're dumb. You're dumb. Okay, those people, this is a disclaimer for you. And any of those people that come into the chat today, I want you all to tell them, just go back to the beginning of the video and watch the first few minutes, and you will feel like a damn fool. What up, though, everybody? I know this man's name is not Petskins. This is why I hyphenated it, and this is why I put it in quotations. I just want to put this disclaimer out there. I know this man's name is not Petskins. It's not. I just wanted to illustrate to you that I am not the only one that finds it difficult to pronounce his name, because Petskins is by far the worst that I've heard. I myself used to struggle to say his name without putting an R in it, which is why I came up with Gru Pretzel, because it's so close to pretzel, because you got the P, you got the E, you got the T, and you've got the Z, right? Not too many words in the English language have those letters. So it's close to pretzel. That's why I call him Gru Pretzel. So, again, for those of you who will be coming in here later, and the first thing that you're going to say is, oh, that's not his name. I know it's not his name. And if you don't catch the video, you won't know where I got it from. But anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about Gru Pretzel. We're talking about Drew Petzing. And we're also talking about Drew Petskins, because Drew Petskins is what Dan Orlovsky called him. Now, we're going to go through. There's a video with Dave Burkett talking to Dan Orlovsky, and we're going to get into that right now. I'm going to play most of the video for you and then react to it as it goes along. All right.
As well as they did in the past, they didn't dominate the game and control the game from that vantage point. And so that, while
just want to see where I want to start it from. All right.
Comes over to me. He's like, "What's up, man? What's going on? Good to see you. Like, you do a great job." And I'm like, Jerry Rice knows I'm a human. Like, he knows that I'm alive and in my name and whatnot. So, yeah, that was one of those moments where I'm like, if you had told me 15, 20 years ago, 10 years ago that Jerry Rice would come over, say hi to me, let alone say nice things. I was like, no shot. So yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, it's you do a great job. I know Lions fans appreciate your honesty, your candor, your breaking downs of the games. And let's jump into the Lions real quick. The disappointing season. Obviously, it wasn't terrible, but they go 9-8. Just in your estimation, what went wrong for them this year?
I don't understand how going 9-8 and not missing the playoffs is not terrible. That's a terrible season. What's the difference between a 9-8 team missing the playoffs and 0-16, 0-17 team? One of them was awful and they couldn't win any games, and one of them couldn't win enough games to do anything that mattered. So that in the grand scheme of things, they both accomplished the same amount of stuff. One of them just had 9 wins. Neither one of them went to the playoffs. They weren't able to participate in the festivities of the postseason. What up, though, Grim?
Well, their strength became a weakness. The offensive line was a unit that was the dominant piece in the NFL for 2 or 3 years. And that's what allowed kind of the character and the identity of certainly the offense and the team to get built. This was a wildly aggressive offense. This was an offense that was constantly gassed down. This was an offense that would all the time go forward on 3rd and 6, run the football, then 4th down, go for it, because they could dominate at the line of scrimmage. And so.
All right. No, I'm not actually questioning Brad Holmes today. Most days I am, but today I am not actually questioning Brad Holmes. Here's the thing that Dan Orlovsky just said about the offensive line. He said that the offensive line being dominant was the reason that you could run the ball on 3rd and 6 and not give a damn and run it again on 4th down, because you could push everybody around up front. I'm trying to understand, if we lost Frank Ragnow, if we drafted a rookie, if we were dealing with Taylor Decker in and out of the lineup due to injury, if we had Christian Mahogany over there looking like butt cheeks, booty butt, cheeks, rump. If we had all of those things going on, the interior of the offensive line wasn't getting a whole lot of push. Why did we think that we could still operate the same way that we were operating? That's the thing I don't understand. When we talk about adjustments, because we kill Shep about adjustments. We kill the defense about making adjustments because you can't make them. Why did we think that that was the way to go? It's the square peg, round hole theory all over again. If you do not have the ability to do something, you shouldn't be doing it. Again, the elitism, the exclusivity, the vet squad BS, all that stuff, the square peg, round hole theory, all this stuff needs to change with the Detroit Lions, and it needs to change very, very soon. This is the same line of thinking. We don't have the horses on the offensive line, but we're still going to jam it down your throat. How'd that work out? It didn't. We've got injuries everywhere because it's next man up and we practice too hard. And, Thomas Harper can do exactly what Kirby Joseph can do. Daniel Thomas can do exactly what Brian Branch can do. Malcolm Rodriguez can do exactly what, and I can't even really use Malcolm Rodriguez in this because Malcolm Rodriguez is actually on the 53-man roster. He's not on the vet squad or the practice squad, which is what it's actually called. And the practice squad, those guys are professional practice players. And what do? They practice football professionally. All of that stuff stems from an unwillingness to change. And it's not even a philosophy shift. It's not an identity shift. You must change. You must adapt as the game goes along. At any given play, you start out play number 1 with a healthy 11 at offense. And after play number 1, you could be at healthy 10. At play number 67, you could be healthy 11. At play number 68, you could be healthy 10. someone got injured. Any given play in the NFL, there is an injury or there could be an injury. You must be able to adapt on the fly and stop thinking that you can just keep doing the same crap over and over and over again. Hope you had a good day, brother. After that loss to the Wizards yesterday, I got to take a break from the Pistons today. Not gonna lie. I didn't watch it. Boondocks reference. I do make a lot of Boondocks references. Does Detroit sports team have cheap GMs or a cheap owner problem? I think I'm gonna say it's the owners. And the reason that I would say that is because if I'm a GM, I'm trying to spend all your money. And the reason I'm trying to spend all your money is because I'm kind of trying to keep my job. And the only way that I can keep my job is to win. And the only way that I can win is I have to field a team with players that are better than the players that the other people that our opponents have. So you have to spend money to do that. You can't, go bargain bin shopping all the time. So I do think that some of this lands in the owner's laps, which is why I've been pounding the table for Sheila to sell some stakes, some shares in the team so we can get some money infused in here so that she could honor the whatchamacallits, the contracts. All right, let's get back to this video.
That led to so many different tentacles attached to it that bred success. The offensive line it became a weakness. They didn't protect nearly as much and as well as they did in the past. They didn't dominate the game and control the game from that vantage point. And so then, it's when the offensive line dominates, everybody else, not just the quarterback, everybody else, his job is easier and they play to a level that is above who they actually are. When the offensive line is a weakness, everybody else's job is harder and they play to a level lower than they actually are, not just the quarterback. And so there's that would probably be the number one starting point. Obviously losing Ben was a massive schematical loss.
All right, so obviously Dan Orlovsky is breaking it down to the layman and the fans that Amon-Ra St. Brown was talking to that do not know ball. Okay. But the way that he's explaining it, if you weren't already asking about the coaching staff knowing these things, you have to be questioning now. Well, if it's that simple, because it is that simple, then why did Johnny Moe and in instances Dan Campbell just keep trying to run the ball directly up the middle? Our dynamic superstar running back, who people will tell you is the best running back in the league, who people will try to compare to Barry Sanders. I hate when they do that. Jahmyr Gibbs had a total, the 3 games before the Chicago game, he had a total of 68 yards from scrimmage. 68. That's what 68. Something you were doing wasn't working. And you kept trying to do it. You kept trying to force the issue of Gibbs up the middle. I don't know what it is. Grim asked me the question about the GMs in the town. Is it the GMs or is it the owners? What is it with the Lions offensive coordinators that take their Ferrari, Javid Best, Reggie Bush, Jahmyr Gibbs, and just keep trying to slam it up the middle? They take their Ferrari and drive them through the woods. Why? What is it about playing in Detroit that doesn't allow you to utilize, like you don't utilize the strengths of certain players? To be fair, Calvin Johnson's strength was everything. Right? So you could run him on a slant route. You could run him on all 10 of the routes. He could run the whole route tree from 0 to 9, and we saw him do everything. Jahmyr Gibbs, 68 yards from scrimmage in the 3 games before the Bears game. Something wasn't working, and all of those games were must-win games. We played the Rams, right? Who else did we play in that stretch? I don't even remember. It was a long season. Okay? Rams, Steelers, and somebody else. I'm blanking on the last one. This was a guy that when you played the Giants, and I know it was the Giants, but the Giants do have a dog-ass defensive line. Jahmyr Gibbs had 200+ yards from scrimmage. That didn't all happen. Like, it didn't all happen up the middle. When we played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, Johnny Morton had the bright idea of running directly at Vita Vea multiple times. With what Dan Orlovsky just said, Johnny Mo had the bright idea of running at Vita Vea multiple times. How'd that work out? Not well. All right, let me get some comments and then I'll get back to the video. I don't understand why they started disrespecting David Montgomery, SMH. It was so frustrating watching him sit on the sidelines. Monty single-handedly destroyed the Ravens by himself. In the next game, they didn't use him at all, but we're good. Giants going to have high draft picks next draft too. Definitely a sleeper team. Yeah, because John Harbaugh is now in there. I can tell you why they didn't use David Montgomery the way they should have, but I also can't tell you why. I can tell you why, because Jahmyr Gibbs needs his touches. Jahmyr Gibbs is dynamic. Jahmyr Gibbs is sonic. Sometimes he goes supersonic. Sometimes he goes Super Saiyan, like against the Giants. Cool. The reason I can't tell you why is because a 2-back set's not prohibited. You're allowed to do it in the NFL. And we did see it 1% of the time. A 2-back set is not prohibited in the NFL. It is okay. You are allowed to have 2 running backs on the field at the same time. You can do it. It's allowed. Right? So that's the part that I can't tell you why. And you don't have to give the ball to Monty every time he's on the field. But if he's on the field, your defense has to be prepared for something to happen. You can catch him off guard, running a bunch of 2-back set. It's okay. You can do it. It's possible in the NFL. It's a Scooby-Doo mystery. All right.
Does it start then with getting that offensive line right, and all of a sudden this offense's team is one of the best in the NFL next year?
It always starts with that offensive line, yes. And then the play caller. If you have one, you got a chance. If you have both, you should dominate. Really, you should control games. You should win games 48-14 type stuff. And so, yeah, getting that offensive line back to the dominant brand that it was, and on a consistent basis is the starting point. And then you got to have that scheme that always gives you an advantage. That's what they had under Ben.
All right, so let's talk about the scheme. The new offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing. I know you study a lot of film.
I like Drew.
Do you? Okay, so what have you seen from his offense that might fit with Dan, might be what the Lions need?
So in Arizona, I really liked Petzkin's run game stuff.
Petskins.
I thought Drew Petskins, the variance of their run game and the versatility of their run game was really good. Different run styles. I think he pulls people in their run game often. At least that's what he did in Arizona. I think the second thing is the utilization of the tight ends. Loves the tight ends. Whenever you put tight ends on the field, I always think you're creating matchup advantages both in the run and the pass game. 2-3 guys on the field in that role at a different perspective. The play action game, it often is married to what the run looks like. You guys in Detroit remember, I wouldn't say Detroit had a play action pass game. I'd always say it has a run action pass game because it always looked the same. And so that's what Drew likes. So those are the good. I want to be.
All right. So those are the good things that he said. Okay. The one thing that I do hope, yes, I believe he returns next season. He's talking like he's returning. So, the one thing that I hear about Drew Petzing from everyone, I hear it from Trey McBride, I hear it from Dan Orlovsky, I hear it from this person, that person, the third person, is that he loves the tight end. He loves to use the tight end. Apparently, Trey McBride reached out to Sam Laporta and told him he's going to have an all-pro season because of how much Drew Petzing loves the tight end. I'm sorry, Drew Petskins. Drew Petskins. He loves the tight end, right? Here's the thing that the question I have. Apparently, he told the Lions in his interview, I'm just using what's available. I don't have a system. I adjust to the players that I have. I hope he's right. Not right, but I hope he's telling the truth. I hope he's telling the truth because I hope he's not like Joe Lombardi in there in the draft pounding the table for Eric Ebron. If you guys remember, that was a Joe Lombardi pick. It wasn't a Martin Mayhew pick because Joe Lombardi convinced Martin Mayhew that all he needed was Eric Ebron, and then we would be Saints 2.0. Eric Ebron was going to be our Jimmy Graham. Okay, so that wasn't a Martin Mayhew pick. He listened to his offensive coordinator, which was dumb. He should have been like, no, I'm taking Aaron Donald. So that's the one thing that I'm weary about because everybody else and their mother is talking about Petskins and the tight ends. But Petskins himself said, I think Petskins is I'm running with it. Petskins himself has said that it is not all about the tight end, and whatever weapons that he has, he will use them effectively. The last guy that said whatever weapons he had, he would use them effectively, his name was Johnny Mo. The last guy that said, oh man, this offense is, you just got to turn the key on this one. I'm not changing nothing. Pretty much tried to change everything. So we'll see what he has to say. Brad Holmes, did you watch Spinning Crash Out when Brad Holmes brought back Levi and Pascal LMFAO? Yeah, I saw that. I had a mini crash out myself. They do need a serious OL overhaul. That is true. Petskins is what Orlovsky just called him. All right. So now Orlovsky is going to point out the bad. He just did the good. Now he's going to do the bad.
Candid and honest, though, I do think that there were parts in their pass game that lacked in Arizona. The pass game concepts. I do think that it's important for somebody in Detroit in the building to be really good with, hey, what pass game concepts do we like in the drop back game and in the play action game? The concepts rather than just the run action. You want concepts that are married to that at a high level. And that would be something that I would like to see advanced and developed from his time in Arizona.
I'm glad you mentioned that tight ends. I talked to Trey McBride at the Pro Bowl the other day, and he said he texted Sam Laporta right after Drew got hired, and he said, "You're going to eat." He said, "This is built for you." But that pass game, maybe that's where Mike Kafka comes in. Obviously, former quarterback, and worked in Kansas City, so I imagine he's got some creativity to him as well.
Yeah, and having a quarterback with that stuff is a big deal. It's quarterbacks just see things differently from a pass game perspective. They just have a different understanding of what defenses are doing, how to try to attack them, how you can marry different things. And so, I think Kafka, and also Kafka's different experiences himself of different offenses, different quarterbacks, different systems is a big advantage.
One more thing on the Lions off.
All right. So you've got I just want to know what you guys think in the chat. Is this a bigger deal? Because I know we've made a big deal out of it. Is it a bigger deal that an offensive coordinator is a person who coordinates the offense, but doesn't know he can't effectively coordinate the pass? And if you're not familiar with passing concepts, you know who is terrible at passing concepts? Johnny Mo. Johnny Mo was awful at passing concepts because he couldn't figure out how far J-Mo had to run down the field before you could throw him the football. And it seemed as though every play had J-Mo running far down the field in hopes of getting the football. The concepts are how you put the routes together, right? You do have a situation where you have everybody running to go, but it's more so layering the routes. A good passing concept for every pass play has the short, the intermediate, and the deep covered. Johnny Mo was not good at that, right? Johnny Mo would just run clear out routes with Jameson Williams. There weren't too many slants. There weren't too many comebacks. Nothing for him to get the ball underneath and to really do something with it. So this was a big problem with Johnny Mo. So when you're talking about Kafka coming here and being a high, what do they call him? A high-end assistant, offensive assistant, whatever, a high-ranking assistant. I don't know. They made up a term. It's going to be his job to take what Drew Pretzel or Drew Petskins does in the running game and say, okay, let me put these passing concepts and these route concepts on top of it. All I know is that they have to have a pretty flawless relationship for this to work. Because if Petskins goes off script, if Kafka goes off script, it's going to be a nightmare. All of a sudden, your offense is broken. So hopefully Dan knows what he's doing with these guys, and hopefully he's able to get them working together seamlessly. Because I just don't love the fact, I don't love an offensive coordinator who can't pass. Like, you can run really well, but you can't pass. It's like a quarterback. Nobody wants a quarterback who can't throw the ball. Like, oh, yeah, you can run. That's why a lot of athletic quarterbacks from college come to the NFL and become wide receivers. That's why people were telling Lamar Jackson he should be a running back or a wide receiver, because they weren't confident in his ability to throw the football. And to his credit, he has proved them wrong. last year he was one of the or the year before last when he didn't win the MVP. And we'll talk about that too. When he didn't win the MVP and Josh Allen did, he was leading the league in like passing efficiency and accuracy and stuff like that. So it's not great, but we'll see. Hopefully it works out. It's like another experiment. It could be. To be honest, they're having a hard time replacing Ben Johnson. And that's what I had so much fun watching Ben Johnson plays when he was here. Okay, his name is Osama Ben Johnson. Get it right. Okay. You just had me not use the Osama 2 times. To be honest, they're having a hard time replacing him, which is why they need to go with another philosophy. And apparently that's what they're doing with this situation. The thing that I do like about what I've heard, and this is what I've heard, that the reins of the offense have been handed over to Gru Pretzel and Mike Kafka. So Dan is not supposed to have anything to do with the game plan, whatever. I mean, obviously he'll probably veto some calls and, get his own calls in there in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. But from what I've heard, he's not going to be too hands-on with this offense. And I do like that. I just know that it's a lot of responsibility to give 2 people, because when Osama Ben Johnson was here, you only needed 1. The Mike McDaniel thing, I don't know. I feel like it was just a mutual. It wasn't mutual. There were things that he was asking for, and things that he wanted to do, like bring in his own coaches if need be. And I don't see what you say. Like, how do you say no to Mike McDaniel? That one I didn't get. And the fact that he still wanted to be a head coach and he was still entertaining head coaching jobs. And the Chargers said, okay, if you don't get one, you're our offensive coordinator. And he said, okay. And a week later, he was announced as the offensive coordinator. So, and we went over his press conference, what he was saying when he accepted the job. And, maybe he felt like Dan Campbell was trying to sell him something. Jim Harbaugh wasn't trying to sell him anything. Obviously, both Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel are quirky. So maybe that was, I don't know. But I just don't love the fact that you're trying to replace one man with 2. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But replacing one man with 2 is crazy to me. Just coming in here with someone, I understand it's flexible, it's malleable. But then you're telling me that this guy doesn't really know how to pass. So you're asking him to design the offense, and I guess Mike Kafka is going to be heavily involved in the offensive design so he can come in and marry the passing concepts with the running concepts, and then that's going to give us a comprehensive playbook. So Gru Pretzel's not going to have to worry about what the pass game does when he calls a play, right? Because he knows what he wants the run to look like and the run action and all that. But calling a play, the passing concepts are already going to be done for you. I don't know, bro. Because my thing is, if you're not the one who's familiar, but you've got to be familiar with everything. But if you're not the one that's doing the pass game stuff, and then it's 3rd and long, and you got to call a play in, I don't feel comfortable with you having to study the playbook, just like Jared Goff has to study the playbook. I don't feel comfortable with that. So I don't know. It is what it is. That is very crazy. Group Pretzel, yes, that's my personal name for him. The offense is about to be despicable, just like Despicable Me. I got you. It's frustrating. They missed the playoffs. Then St. Brown said we don't know ball. He blew me after he said that. Not gonna lie. I feel you. Why do the Lions keep insulting their fans when they are regressing and we are concerned? I don't get it. Can you explain it to me, bro? I would have to be able to think that way, and I'm not able to think that way. So I can't explain it to you. All right, let's get the last bit about the Lions.
Sort of admitted after the season they may entertain some trade offers. If
Different offenses, different quarterbacks, different systems is a big advantage.
One more thing on the Lions offense, David Montgomery was a little unhappy with his role. Brad Holmes sort of admitted after the season they may entertain some trade offers. If David leaves, is Jahmyr Gibbs ready for that big workload? He had a big workload this year, but to be that horse every down type guy, what would you do with the Lions running game if you had to trade David Montgomery?
You choose to keep them both, right? But if you move from David and you get the proper value from him, the answer is yes. Jahmyr is so special. He's a stud. I mean, and it's one of those situations where it's like, I can get where people are going, are we really taking Jahmyr off the field? And though that's why you get into that, all right, is David getting the proper touches? Jahmyr's he's a special talent. Now, I think Detroit is still one of those teams that, and I say this all the time, like, they're not planning on playing 18 games. They want to play 21, and so that's a big burden to ask on a back, right? It's not just for 26. You want Jahmyr to be a focal point for 5+ years. And so that's something that you got to be conscious of is like the wear and tear, not over the course of just that season, but also the 4 or 5 year stretch of a career.
Absolutely. And they're going to pay him this year. So that factors into it. They want him around. One last offensive coordinator question. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this.
All right. So the Jahmyr Gibbs Sonic and Knuckles situation. David Montgomery already addressed this. He basically said how teams are realizing that they need 2 good backs. He said Jahmyr Gibbs is one of, if not the best backs in the league, and he said he feels that he's a damn good back as well. So he talked about basically being a part of the Lions organization. Now, there's another video that I want to share with you guys where someone, and again, you have to tell me what you hear in the chat. All right. Let me see what you're saying first. Monty is a beast. He could be a number 1 somewhere. I don't like the disrespect. He's one of my favorite Lions. Listen, I really don't think it's disrespect. As I said, the Lions have this problem where they don't know how to make adjustments. When you looked at Dan Campbell before Johnny Moe was stripped of his duties, Dan Campbell said things like, I would like to see David Montgomery get the ball more. And whatchamacallit, Johnny Morton could not figure out how to do that. And then when Dan Campbell got in, Dan Campbell, because Johnny Moe also couldn't figure out how to use J-Mo. When Dan Campbell got in, J-Mo went crazy, and that's why he went over 1,000 yards again this season after not being used for the first 9 weeks. Cool. Why couldn't you figure out the same for David Montgomery? That's just the thing I don't like. So they just had a problem with adjustments. They had a problem with understanding when and how to get Montgomery in the game. Oh, we wanted it's not a disrespect thing, man. We just wanted to get, we wanted to get David in there more, but there just wasn't any room for it. And meanwhile, Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging 1.2 yards per carry because you keep forcing him up the middle. So I don't understand where the disconnect is between what they say and what they do. If you want to see David Montgomery get more carries, give him more carries. It's not like it's out of your hands. Get him more carries. If I want this cup that's in front of me, this glass, to go to my mouth, I just do it. It's simple. So if it's something that you control, like David Montgomery getting in the game and being given the football, I don't understand the conversations that they had. I didn't understand that. What up there, Pierce Sargent? It says Ignatius ignited Amon-Ra to do this. What does Amon-Ra have to do with it? Right. Exactly. Just do it. Like Nike. All right. There's another person that had something to say. Now, when I heard this, it got misconstrued as something else. But let me find exactly where it starts. All right. Oh, okay. About Amon-Ra. Okay. All right. Now, here's the thing that I want you guys to react in the chat before I say anything. I want you to tell me what you heard. Let's get it.
Hey, with the Raiders, where's your mind at? What are your thoughts? I don't know. What I read true, what I read, that you're in the news all the time. So just lay it out there. Where are you with the Raiders?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad you brought it up because it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. For me, in the past, I've learned, being too vocal and too involved with trying to make, I want this coach or I want this. Like I've learned my lessons and I've learned from that. And like that's not my job. My job is to be the best player I can possibly be that guy in the locker room every single day, the leader. That's who I am to my core. That's all I love. That's all I care about and love is being the best version of myself in that locker room and on the field on Sundays and in practice and doing all those in the weight room, leading from the front, not talking and, not leading every day. I do it every single day. So that's what my importance is. And nowadays, especially like this past year and a half, like I'm not talking about stuff like that because that's not my job. And I've been advised, hey, Max, I think it'd be best, some of the best mentors in my life, Max, I know you care a lot. You're obsessive about it. You want to win no matter what. Like, but you can't control everything. And I've learned that. So now that I be quiet, now that I'm quiet, now I got random people making big statements for me. And they're like, oh, Max must have told him this and this guy. For me, I just sit back and laugh because I know my truth. And when I go to bed at night, I have a smile on my face because I don't have to explain nothing to nobody. I've said it over and over again. I'm getting healthy. I'm in the building every single day. If I'm in this building before 6 a.m. and it's dark out, and I am in here until almost 2 o'clock, almost 8 hours, I'm putting in straight work, rehabbing, lifting, getting prepared for next season. Like, that's all that I care about. So all the noise, it's news to me sometimes. I got up yesterday, I looked at my phone, or 2 days ago, I looked at my phone, and all of a sudden now I got a bunch of PR people talking about what they, what Max is doing. And it's like, I just laugh because if I address it, then someone's going to pick apart what I say there. So it's a lose-lose. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm getting healthy. I'm going to be the best version of myself upcoming this year. And I'm going to put myself in the best position to do that. And that's by taking care of myself and being the best version of myself on a daily basis. My family's good. My wife is doing incredible. My baby girl's 3. She's running the house. Life is incredible. So I just try not to, address certain things because no matter what, someone's going to, pick it apart and make it some way. So I'll let people do their talking. All I'm about is my actions. And my actions, everyone knows what my actions are. I do the same thing every single day, and I'm going to be the hardest worker on the planet every single time. So that's all I care about.
Okay. So y'all tell me what y'all heard. Y'all tell me what y'all heard. Question: Can the Lions realistically afford him though? Very realistically. I did a whole show about it yesterday. You should have came through. If you didn't see it, you could watch it on replay. Do you sacrifice Linderbaum? Were you ever going to get him? Were you ever going to swing for the fences and pay the man the money? And again, you're not actually sacrificing Linderbaum. I got Max Crosby's cap hit for year 1 down to $6.8 million. I mean, there are contract gymnastics that you can do with Tyler Linderbaum as well. You can do it. You can do it. You hear discontent, doesn't sound happy, sounds like he's tired of losing. I'm saying it's one or the other in terms of one big move. Again, I don't agree. Listen, the cap, I've got to fix my page, and I want you to the mock draft thing. I had a couple days where I couldn't work on it. One of the things that I'm going to be doing is not revamping the contract knowledge base page, but I'm just adding more stuff to it. Right? I'm adding more stuff to it. I don't think it has enough in there. If you've said, okay, we're gonna get Linderbaum in here to fix the offensive line, we're gonna get Max Crosby in here to fix the defensive line. Max Crosby's cap hit next season is $35 million. If the Raiders trade him to the Lions, then they eat $5 million in dead cap. So that means that his cap hit with us will be $30 million. You immediately restructure Max Crosby. You add void years to his contract because he wants to be here. And then you get him down to about $7 million as a cap hit. That's what he counts against the cap. Remember, all the option bonuses that Kirby Joseph has in his contract, and he has very little base salary because most of his salary is in option bonuses. We're going to be doing the same thing. If you go and look at Aiden Hutchinson's contract, it's going to be similar. We're going to have a bunch of things that are not base salary. Because base salary is the thing that counts most against the cap. That's why you can put incentives in there. That's why you can put option bonuses. You can put all these different bonuses and clauses and things of this nature into NFL contracts, which keep the cap hit down. Now, what you are doing when you do that is you are kicking the can down the road. Okay, you are kicking the can down the road. But if you've got a dominant offensive line and a dominant defensive line in Detroit, you only need that to happen for 1 year to get a Super Bowl. I don't care if you missed the playoffs for 3 straight years because you're dealing with a bad cap situation after you've won a Super Bowl. Because going through the draft, you're not going to get a Tyler Linderbaum and you're not going to get a Max Crosby. So, yeah. I'm also saying we don't restructure all the big money this year. We're going to have to restructure quite a few people. 2 this year, 2 next year. Right. Mad Max with Hutch would be insane. Yeah. The shirts sell themselves, Crosby and Hutch, just like Starsky and Hutch. Facts. Everybody wants a pass rush except for Brad. Everybody wants a pass rush. All right. So what I heard was, what I did not hear was Las Vegas. What I did not hear was Raiders. What I did not hear was Raiders for life. What I did not hear was Raider Nation. What I did not hear was Raider Nation, you know I'm going to be here next year, blah, 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 blah. How, like, he sat there and he spoke for 3 minutes straight without mentioning the team that he's currently on at all. Without debunking anything, without denying anything. Oh, people are just talking for me. Oh, Max Crosby must have told this guy this. You didn't say you didn't. Flip side, when Diana Rossini was talking what she was talking, Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show basically saying, I don't know her and I don't talk to her. So he was vehemently denying something. If Jay Glazer wasn't coming from a source, then what's the point? If he's not saying something true, you refute it. If you didn't tell him, if you didn't have it leaked, if nobody from your camp put it out there where he could catch it, then why not refute that? So the damned if you do, damned if you don't thing is not correct. Because if you say, I didn't have any conversations with Jay Glazer, nobody from my camp had conversations with Jay Glazer. We did not give Jay Glazer this information. So the question becomes, where did he get it from? That's the point. Where did he get the information from? If it wasn't from you, if it wasn't from your camp, if it wasn't from the team, what was it? The hobo down the hall? The homeless dude that hangs out in front of, what's it called, Allegiant Stadium? He went to a casino in Las Vegas and got the information from a blackjack dealer. He went to a strip club and got it from one of the strippers. Where did he get the information from, Max? You know what Jay Glazer is not saying? He's not coming on there saying, "Oh, I'm hearing that Jared Goff wants to be traded. He no longer wants to be in Detroit." Because Jared Goff said he's not going through another rebuild. So you just think that Jay Glazer is staking his reputation as an NFL insider to just say what he thinks and not say, "I think this. I haven't heard this, but I think this." That's not what he said. So what I heard was no mention of his current team, no mention of his current city, no plea to the fans, no letting the fans know that they don't have anything to worry about. He fully intends to be there next year. And that's not really being loud or being vocal. It's not, you're not talking about a coach. You are saying, "I, Max Crosby, intend on being in Las Vegas next season." That's it. That kills all the speculation. But you didn't say that. So, as the weatherman said, I don't believe you. What I also didn't hear was trade me. I did not hear trade me. But how many football players, because remember, this isn't the NBA. How many football players come out so loud and vocally going, "Hey, trade me, trade me, trade me, trade me"? That's not the norm. So in the PR world, I think Max Crosby did exactly what he was supposed to do. He left everything vague. So that brings more speculation, just like I'm doing right now. Right? He didn't address anything. So he can't look like the bad guy to the Raiders fans if he gets traded, and he can't look like the bad guy to the Lions fans if he doesn't get traded. All he has to do in the public is just sit there and say nothing, which is what he just did. And if he gets traded to the Detroit Lions, he could go and do the PR bullcrap to the Las Vegas Raiders fans. "You know, I was a Raider for life, but me and the team just couldn't see eye to eye, blah, 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 blah." So he's left room for himself by not taking a stance one way or the other. So it was a brilliant PR job, but again, he didn't make any commitment to the Raiders at all. Off topic, Pistons winning by 21 at the half. The Knicks are without Cat and Josh Hart, I think. The Lions are 16's last team. I'm pretty sure he will retire when his contract is up. Yeah, I was just giving an example. The last one was Antonio Brown, I believe. And we see what happened with Antonio Brown. That was walking CTE right there. You know, Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders. Well, I don't know about Barry Sanders, but Calvin Johnson apparently wanted to be traded. But instead of coming out in the media and saying that, he did it behind closed doors. The Lions declined. He retired. And then it took 6 years to mend the relationship with Calvin Johnson. Well, not 6. I would say 4 or 5. Because it was already mended by the time he went into the Hall of Fame. And since he was the first ballot Hall of Famer, that was 5 years. So I would say 4 years. Hutch from Michigan, Mash from Michigan, come home. Yeah. So AJ Brown is not publicly requesting a trade. All right. So you know what it is. Mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Snicks. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right, I'll take a few and then skedaddle. Any questions about the bowl? Yes, we will be here. We will be doing the watch party. Go Pats, go. Mailbag, Don, be pragmatic. Does Ignatius make any of these moves? If I'm being pragmatic, no. If I'm being pragmatic, no. But what I'm being is hopeful. And the hope is that he's learned some sort of lesson. I mean, tricking away all these third round picks, acting like they're just they don't matter. It's this doesn't make sense. So yeah, you got to learn something, bro. You got to learn something different. It looked to me in his end of the year press conference like he got some news. He was a lot more humble. He was a lot more contrite. He didn't have any receipts to keep because he's done nothing. And it could just have been him reflecting on, I haven't done anything, and this team failed even to get to the playoffs this year. So now I'm going to come in front of the media and I'm going to get my hat handed to me. So I should come with it in my hands already. You know what I mean? Or maybe he got some news from Sheila. Mailbag, how will Brad bolster the OL? If he's learned anything, he's going to make a big free agency signing. And it actually, you know what? It actually doesn't have to be big. But what I would do, if you're going with the more bargain friendly situation, I would sign a center and a guard. Because I mean, if you get Linderbaum, then you could put Mahogany back in there because Mahogany looked good when Ragnar was there. So maybe he just needs an above average or even an all pro center to look like he's competent at playing guard. So if you get Linderbaum in there, you can then, I guess, roll the dice with Miles Frazier or whatchamacallit, or Christian Mahogany. And the reason that I'm focusing on that is because in the draft, you may need to draft a tackle round one, because by then you'll know what Taylor Decker's going to do. You know, and you're going to need some safety help because neither one of our safeties are a lock for week one. Brian Branch is assuredly not a lock for week one, and we don't know what's happening with Kirby. So you're gonna need to go heavy free agency. I don't know how many trades you pull off with not having third round picks. So I would say free agency and trades to bolster the offensive line, and then not give up too much as far as draft capital, so that you can go in the first 2 rounds and actually use those picks and get someone to help you. Which is why if you got Max Crosby for a first round pick and a Brian Branch, or a first and a second, or a first and 2 firsts, I'd be all for that. 6th round, is that good enough? 6th round, I don't know. 6th round, I don't know. Has anybody seen that guy on the field? I'm asking for a friend. Mailbag, what will Brad do to fix the tight end situation since Laporta and Brock are injured? I think they'll both be ready for the start of the season. So I don't think it's anything that needs to be quote unquote fixed. The Brock Wright situation might be a little bit more dire because it was a neck injury. But again, free agency, bro. We have to spend money. Call me jaded, but I'm skeptical. Hi, jaded. Are you jaded or skeptical? Which one? You're both. Is it a green screen? I don't know. 6th round. I don't know. 6th round. I don't know. Yes, it is. All right, y'all. Appreciate you coming by, stopping through, hanging out, drinking conversation, and all that jazz. If you have not checked out the mock drafter, please go to if you haven't checked out the mock machine, please go to themockmachine.com. We're still taking suggestions for practical features. Still working out some kinks and some bugs. So make sure you grab a friend and do some mock drafting this weekend. Do some general manager stuff this weekend. Get your cap situation right, sign free agents, so on and so forth, and the like. Then go into the draft, and build the roster the way that you want to build it. Make sure you do that. Again, we will be here for the bowl. Go Pats, go. That's what we're doing. So once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out after I read these two. You have a good night as well. You get Max and Baum and Decker will stay. Probably. Chip Bradshaw, probably. All right. We're out. Peace.